Good evening, good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome. We are happy to see all of you here. We need to express special words of thanks to Sheila Kasdan for coordinating this service this evening. And Sheila.
Shabbat Shalom. Tonight we would like to dedicate our service to a co-president, Sylvia Pastor, and wish her a refuah shlema. May the days and months ahead bring her healing. We hope you, and I'm talking to her because I think she's watching, I'm hoping. We hope that she is watching and streaming and can't wait for you, and we can't wait for her return. So please enjoy what we're going to present. It's a great service. The music is going to be spectacular. We're so happy to have a harpist with us.
Let us read responsively after I finish my first section. Like the moon, we shed our layers, leave them at the door. We who caretake life, we who are healers, we who are doers, we who mother the world. It's time for us. This time is for us. We step inside the sacred circle. We make space for ourselves to be. The moon now glides towards darkness, towards rest. She retreats in order to emerge whole. She quiets in order to fill the night with light. So too shall we make a space for ourselves, a space of renewal, so we, nourished life, can emerge as the moon, bearing our light, our touch, to better repair the world. Like the melting of ice, the moon's boundaries slowly fade. She merges with sky and air and stars, and sings her night songs sweetly. So too do we make this space the space away, a time to come home to ourselves and sing of our journeys and tell of our stories and stretch and laugh and touch and renew as does the moon. She sings songs of praise to the one who shaped her. She dances joy, gratefulness for the gift of life to the one who sculpted her. So too we sing songs, so do we at our being in life, at our blessings. And so we ready to leave the world at the door, to make a special place for ourselves, to let down that which separates us, to make a space for us.
This is a special moment, a moment when we come together as family and friends, as a synagogue family, to share the quiet and peace of Shabbat. Shabbat was not ordained to remove us from the work of the struggles of life, but to give us a pause, to allow us to step back and look afresh at our lives. The rest that is Shabbat is not a passive escape, but a time for reflection, a time for learning, and a preparation for doings. During Shabbat, we should strive to remove complacency, self-righteousness, and despair from our existence, and prepare to go forth to change the world with eagerness and zeal. With these lights, we welcome Shabbat. Here, in the presence of this light, we sense the preciousness of light in the world, where lonely stars touch the mysteries of space. For the spirit of humanity is the lamp of God, spreading joy amid sadness, light amidst darkness. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed is Adonai, our God, creator of the universe, who offers us a hint of the sacred as we perform mitzvah, who allows us to bring light to our world as we illumine these Sabbath candles. Amen.
The Shabbat Kiddush. Please stand.
Amen.
this new Shabbat. After noise, we always seek quiet. After crowds of indifferent strangers, we seek to touch those we love. After concentration on work and responsibility, we seek freedom to meditate, to listen to our inner selves. We open our eyes to the hidden beauties and the infinite possibilities in the world you are creating. We break open the gates of the reservoirs of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. We reach toward one holy, perfect moment of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagadol.
Amen.
May the sweetness of this Shabbat wine with which we consecrate this special moment allow us to taste life's joys and celebrate the blessings of family and friends. And may it be for all of us.
Amen.
Amen.
I know.
Please remain standing. Our moments of prayer allow the Shekinah, God's presence, to fuse with our spirits. On Shabbat, we are blessed with Neshima, Yetera, an added soul, a soul that enriches our being and heightens our human awareness. May the sense of Kavanah that we bring to these moments of shared worship allow us to sense God's presence in this sacred space, and when our prayer is completed, may it accompany us into our homes, blessing us with a taste of life's sacredness.
Oh,
Hama'ariv. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochachim, b'mishmechotechem, barachia kirzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umvavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. This year, I'm sure it will benefit many by knowing what the English of this beautiful blessing is. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Amen.
God, our creator and creator of the world, we sing your praises in every season. Your presence is known to us in autumn, when shimmering golden leaves catch our eye. We stand in the hushed forest and are filled with awe. In winter, you cover us with a blanket of soft white snow as a mother shelters her child. The fresh awakening of spring stirs in us with gladness. Each spring you give us new earth. We are cleansed as the earth in spring rain, and summer's full blossoming and gentle breezes is overflowing with joy and beauty. Life is a journey, like a meandering stream that skips over rocks and branches on the way to a mountain lake. Sometimes we too encounter obstacles on our path, but we reach pools of contentment. Nature gives to us beauty, joy, and peace. Let not the worldliness of the times diminish nature's simple joys. Let us pause in our hurried lives to contemplate your infinite wonders and to know ourselves. God grant us the wisdom to preserve that which is entrusted to us, so that our children and our children's children will be free to find nature's solace.
There is no question? Oh, okay, sorry. Even when you hold it in your arms, you have not grasped it. Wrapped and turned in upon itself, the scroll says, not yet. Even when you take them into your eyes, you have not seen them, elegant in their crowns. The letters stand aloof. Even when you taste them in your mouth and roll them on your tongue or bite the sharp, unyielding strokes, they say, not yet. And when the sounds pour them from your throat and reach deep into your lungs for breath, and even then the words say, not quite. But when your heart knows its own hunger, and your mind is seized and shaken, and in the narrow space between the lines your soul builds its nest, Now, says Torah, now you begin to understand. Please rise. Please be seated.
Adonai Elohecha, b'kol levavecha, v'kol nafshecha, v'kol me'odecha, v'hayu ha'dvarim ha'ele, asher novim etzavecha hayom ha'levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibartam b'shivtecha b'veitecha, v'levtecha v'derech, v'shachbecha v'kumecha, v'kashartam lehot al yadecha, v'hayu letotapot b'neinecha, v'katavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha, leman tizkeru, va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'hitem kedoshim le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohim, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, lihiyot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohim.
For what do I pray, O God? I do not pray for riches, but should riches come to me, I pray for generosity, so that I would be willing to share with others. I do not pray for beauty, but should I be fair, base in form, I pray for modesty, lest I flaunt my loveliness. I do not pray for power, but should it be my lot to lead and influence others, I pray for wisdom, lest arrogance take over my nature. I do not pray for talent, but should honor come to me, I pray for understanding, lest esteem cause me to forget those who need a helping hand. I do not pray for trouble, but should trouble come to me, I pray for courage to begin anew, and neither whine nor blame. I do not pray for sorrow, but when grief enters my life, I pray for fortitude to bear my trials with patience and be a comfort to those around me.
For what then do I pray to God, O God?
I pray for generosity, for modesty, for wisdom, for understanding, for humility, for courage, for fortitude.
Emet ve'emenah kol zot, v'kayam aleinu kihu Adonai Eloheinu, ve'ein zulato va'anachnu Yisrael amo. Mothers of Israel, weaving a tapestry with your lives, where can I find you? In threads of stories found between verses of Torah? I touch the parchment, feeling for you. I chant the words, listening for you. I study the symbols, looking for you. A delicate strand has snared my soul, pulling me ever closer. Mothers and fathers of Israel, weaving a tapestry with your lives, I become one with you for all eternity.
Yam lifnei Moshe Miriam, Zeli anu ve'amaru. Adonai imlok, Adonai imlok, le'olam va'ed.
The world outside this praying place is dark. The end of day has come. As we speak our words of prayer, we pray for light within. Be with us, O God, in this moment and in all our tomorrows, and banish the darkness of ignorance and prejudice that fills our soul. Then shall we find inner peace, our unique Sukkot Shalom, in a world that we shall, with God, create. God, help us now to make this a unique Shabbat. After noise, we seek quiet. After crowds of indifferent strangers, we seek to touch those we love. After concentration on work and responsibility, we seek freedom to meditate, to listen to our inner selves. We open our eyes to the hidden beauties and the infinite possibilities in the world that you are creating. We break open the gates of the reservoirs of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. We reach towards one holy, perfect moment of Shabbat.
Then you made the day struck
Please rise. This is my journey to become a blessing. It is a journey I make alone, but not alone. For with me is a well-packaged bag of belongings I cherish, even when they seem a burden. At the heart, placed for greatest protection, my family. Surrounded by the people I embrace as friends, supported by the women I know as sisters, lined with the fabric of congregations and community, covered by the canvas of the world in which I live. Sometimes it seems too much for me to carry, and I am tempted to remove something from the load. But would I want the bag to be any less full? Perhaps a little lighter, perhaps a little easier, so that the quality of its contents could be more deeply appreciated, the beauty of its contents more thoroughly enjoyed, so that the love and care with which it is fastened could be more visible and enduring. But whatever the weight or route to be taken, it is my precious cargo, which I carry with hope and promise, and the prayer that you will be with me as I continue my journey to become a blessing.
ponder the past, we think about the future. Where have we been? Where are we now? What is the connection? What heritage did I receive from my parents? What will I bequeath to my children and grandchildren? What gifts have I received from my brothers, my sisters, my friends? What can I give to others? Where does my people, my community, fit into my life?
If I can make someone's life better, I will not regret the past. If I can help someone grow, I will not fear the future.
Oh God, let me make some mark on this world. Let me create some lasting image. Let me leave some memory of myself.
Even if only for an instant, someone can say, this world is better because I passed this way.
We forge our lives with a malleable iron. We weep, we live twice born. Atah kadosh v'simcha kadosh v'kedusha b'chol yom yechal lecha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. There are moments in time when we, who are created in God's image, are capable of feeling a sense of God's presence in our midst. Such times are moments of kedusha, moments of holiness. This is such a moment. Blessed is Adonai, whose holiness we seek to share. Please be seated.
In a world that is constantly changing, our heritage and our traditions help us bring together the past and the present. As we read together both ancient and modern words, we find in our heritage enduring Jewish values: family, caring, peace, freedom, and responsibility. As Jews, we understand the importance of commitment in days of joy and days of struggle, and the value of communicating the ideas and feelings which ultimately bring us together. We understand the challenge of perpetuating meaningful traditions within the changes of our modern world. As Jews, we pledge our energy and our commitment to the challenge of making our heritage a vital force in our lives. Modim anachnu lach, she'atahu Adonai Eloheinu, v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu le'olam va'ed. Sur ha'enu, magan yeshienu, atahu l'dor v'dor.
Modim anachnu lach, you are our God, rock of our life. Modim anachnu lach, you are our God, shield of salvation, forever and ever. Modim anachnu lach, forever. Morning, noon, and night, modim anachnu Modim anachnu lach, we sing your praises, we sing your praises. Modim anachnu lach, compassionate one, merciful Lord, forever and ever. Modim anachnu lach, forever. Morning, noon, and night, modim anachnu lach. Our lives are in your hands. Our souls are in your keeping. Your miracles surround us day by day. Our lives are in your hands. Our souls are in your keeping. Your never-ending love, as always, never-ending love has been our hope. We will never stop praising your name. We will never stop praising your name. Praising your name. Modim anachnu lach.
Life meanders along an unsuspecting, winding path, unlike that of any route I know, presenting itself to me as darkness, still undiscovered, beckoning me to begin a long search. For what? I don't understand. I walk cautiously along the well-worn path before me, only to feel precariously unbalanced, looking for a sign in the murkiness to show me the way, calling out for me to discover equilibrium. For what? Still, I don't understand. I stop to take notice of my surroundings on this endless path, careful to appreciate the beauty inherent in it, letting myself heed the quiet stirrings, rumbling inside me, summoning me to look within the answers, for the answers. For what? I begin to understand. I now reflect on the meaning of the silent voice of the path, pure in the simplicity of its message, letting myself feel the warmth of God's precious gift of light, guiding me to what was already mine. For what? Peace, I understand.
Shalom Rav HaYisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lehu shalom. V'tov b'edenecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'kol it uvchosha b'shlomecha. המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
Our Shabbat journey has reminded us that when God, creation of the universe, was completed, God rested. Now it is time for us to rest. As God rested from divine creativity, so must we. All week we use our minds, our voices to shape the world into images, often not our own. On Shabbat, we have the chance to focus our energy on the image within. This is such a moment, a time for private prayer. As we sit here among family and friends, and also among those we do not know, let us use these private moments to find our inner selves, to discover our personal healing, but also to strengthen each other as we continue to journey together.
We pause for a few moments. First, a Mishaberach for those who are ill and those who are in danger. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless all who are touched by any affliction of body, mind, or spirit. We ask blessing and special care for the following members of our extended congregational family: Ed Cohen, Joel Lowenstein, Peter Roth, Joan Lieberman, Nancy Freund, Dawn Packard, Brad Hauser, Joan Horwitz, Sylvia Pastor, Stephen King, Bill Sandy. And I ask those of you who have additional names, please raise your hands high enough so I can see. Go ahead, Richard.
David Greenberg.
And I'm moving down on this side of the room. Yes, Bob.
Jerry Loveland.
Rick Hollander.
Yes.
Margie Sklar.
Martin Gilbert.
And go ahead, yes.
Nancy Josephson, Gerald Josephson. Merrill Hayback and Tom Mulligan.
Do I see anyone else on this side of the room? I'll move over here. Yes, Judy, go ahead.
Jerry Klein. Susan Sieber.
And go on, yes.
Mark Chisholm.
Moving back, yes.
Johnny Puccini.
Lawrence Dixon. Andy Packard.
Yes, please.
Terry Burke.
And do I see anyone else on this side of the room? Way up high, yes. One and then, yes.
Michelle Schubert. Melissa Schubert, I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
Jari and Judy Herman. Bernie Papernick. Rosie Curtis.
Do I have everyone here? Then I'm going to move over here. We'll start at the very end and move across. Yes.
John Roeder. Bob Epstein. Brett Lucas. Jose Pereira.
Michael Williams-Jones. Michael Spinelli.
Is there anyone else on this part of the room? Then we're going to move over here.
Diana Triglav.
May they all be granted a refuah shlema, an easy and quick recovery. May the Holy One make that come about as quickly as possible as we continue with this Mishaberach. And a special prayer for the country and the people of Israel. Avinu Shebashamayim, Varech et Medinat Yisrael Reshit Smechat Geulatenu. May the one who blessed and protected our ancestors protect and guard the people of Israel, the members of Israel's defense forces, especially those missing in action and those who are held captive, and other captives, the whole house of Israel, who are in distress and activity, as we pray on their behalf. May the Holy One have compassion on them and bring them out from darkness and the shadow of death. May their bonds be broken. May they be delivered from their distress. O God, bring them swiftly back to their families' embrace. We ask God to grant strength and courage and forbearance to families and loved ones and friends of those who are in captivity. On this special Women's Shabbat, we offer a special prayer of great intensity on behalf of those women who have been held captive and those who are still in captivity 15 weeks. Under the most brutal and barbaric terms beyond our imagination. We ask that God grant wisdom and courage to the government of Israel. May God grant success to the Israel Defense Forces in their effort to eradicate all this horror. May the hostages who are now being held be brought home, and not just the hostages who are alive, but the bodies of those who are also being kept captive, some not just for the past 15 weeks, but for many years. We pray that this come to pass quickly and speedily in our day. O God, protector and guardian of the people of Israel, make this possible. Amen.
We have tradition and we have vision. The power and beauty of Judaism has always been its ability to adapt itself to new situations and demands of the times. Otherwise, we would have fared the same as other ancient religions now long gone. The challenge that modern Jewish women offer is the challenge to break down the psychological barriers that separate us, to include fully more than 1/2 the population of Jews in this world. Imagine the wonder of a vibrant, creative Judaism which uses the potential of every Jewish soul, the full and inclusive potential of each and every future Rashi, whether male or female. This challenge can only benefit Judaism. It is met, and all Jews, both male and female, could share the strength and beautiful heritage that is ours as Jews. And now, please take a moment for your own personal meditation.
Shabbat Shalom again. Tonight I'd like to share some thoughts with you about human relationships and human disabilities. Each can impact the other. When I was quite young, I had a friend who was afflicted with polio. His name was Richie. Our parents knew each other, and that's how he and I became friends. We attended each other's birthday parties. At first, his mother would carry him. Then, in later years, it became more difficult for her, so he wasn't able to attend. It made me very sad. I missed him. When I was old enough to do things on my own, my mother would let me visit him at home. We would play board games and card games. Very often after school, I would visit with him. I wasn't alone. Many of my friends and his friends would visit at the same time. None of us ever thought of him as disabled, even though most often he was confined to bed. When I think back on those early life experiences, I realize that I was quite upset to see him like that. He wasn't always easy to be with, because sometimes out of frustration and anger, he would lash out using foul language. I guess this was his way of coping with his disability. It certainly wasn't what he pictured his life would be. You must be wondering why I've told you about Richie. It's actually in reaction to this Shabbat's parashah, Bo. Bo, which means in Hebrew, go. It is not a request, it's actually a demand. Here we learn of Moses' relationship with God. God tells us Moses, he must go to Pharaoh and demand that God's people be set free. Moses' initial response to God was, I can't. I have a speech impediment. I cannot be your spokesman. Choose someone more capable. Without the Torah explaining the cause for this speech impediment, a midrash offers us an explanation. In Shemot Rabbah 126, we read a story that tells us how Moses came to have this speech disability. The magicians of Egypt were warning Pharaoh that the young boy Moses, who was raised as a prince in Pharaoh's house, wanted to replace him. So they suggested that Pharaoh place 2 bowls before the child, a bowl containing a piece of shiny gold and a bowl containing a piece of burning coal. Like almost any child, Moses started to reach for the shiny piece of gold. Suddenly, the angel Gabriel appeared and pushed Moses' hand, and instead of his taking the piece of shiny gold, he grabbed the burning coal. Now in extreme pain, he immediately put his aching fingers into his mouth to soothe them, and as a result, burned his tongue. This made him slow of speech and slow of tongue. While the story is only found in the Midrash, the Torah in Exodus 5:1 teaches us the end result of God's command to Moses. Bo, go to Pharaoh and say to him, let my people go. That may be hold a feast for me in the wilderness. Despite his reluctance, Moses, with God's insistence, came to understand that he had a responsibility to his people that was far more important than his disability. We learn from this that even if we are living with a disability, we are not free from the obligations that being Jewish imposes on each one of us. There isn't enough time tonight to list and expand on every type of human disability, whether they are emotional or physical in nature. Jewish tradition teaches us it is our obligation to ensure equal access for all people and to help facilitate the full participation of all individuals who live with disabilities in both their religious and their public life. In the Pirkei Avot, the chapters of the Sages 2:5, we are taught, do not separate yourself from the community. Accordingly, we must prevent any one person from being separated from the rest of us against their will. Our primary religious source, the Torah, contains many passages about justice and mercy, many of which specifically reference human disability. Assisting the disabled is the fulfillment of justice, tzedek, or loving kindness. Leviticus 19:14 is disability specific. This is the passage where God warns us against cursing the deaf or placing a stumbling block before the blind, referencing two physical disabilities. The Torah proclaimed the importance of justice for people with disability long before President George Bush signed the ADA into law. Stumbling blocks come in many forms. One of these is less than accessible buildings where those in wheelchairs or using walkers cannot navigate freely. Here in our own temple sanctuary, where as a result of there being only stairs leading up to the bema, we make it difficult at best, impossible at worst, for some of our members to have an aliyah, that is to say, to go up, to stand before the Torah. We Jews are obligated to remove any and all stumbling blocks that prevent others from fulfilling their Jewish obligations. This is why Judaism, from its earliest beginnings, has cared so deeply for the rights of people with disabilities. Besides Moses, there are other familiar Jewish heroes that have to live part of their lives with a variety of disabilities. In his later years, Isaac, second of the three patriarchs, became blind and easily fooled. Isaac's youngest son, Jacob, seeking to find his identity and purpose in life, was wounded and limped. Samson, forgetting his obligation to protect the community, allowed his sexual appetite to overcome his ethical responsibility, and he became blind and weak. There are countless other examples of disabilities mentioned in the Torah and Talmud. Such examples deal with hearing impairments and crippled limbs. There is simply not enough time tonight to recount them all. Instead, let me deal with disabilities on a more personal level. Peter and I were students in the same Reformed temple in Brooklyn, New York. Above the main entrance to Beth Sholem People's Temple, there was a statement carved into the space above the front doors. It was a statement of purpose taken from the book of Isaiah 56:5. My house shall be called a house of prayer for all people. It was a reminder that Maimonides reaffirmed in his Mishnah Torah when he taught, every member of the people of Israel is obligated to study Torah, whether one is rich or poor, physically able, or with physical disability. We have 3 children. Each of them during their lifetime worked with people with disabilities. Our eldest daughter, Robin, spent 6 weeks one summer on the Rutgers University campus as part of the New Jersey Urban Mitzvah Corps. Each participant had to spend 3 weeks at a chosen location. Robin chose to work at Camp Daisy with children with mental and physical disabilities. She worked with 2 young boys. One named Stephen was only 4 years old and mute. However, he knew sign language, and knowing a small amount herself, Robin was able to communicate with him. Robin was trying to teach the children the difference between hot and cold. She took 2 dishes, one filled with hot water and the other cold, just like the story where Pharaoh was testing Moses to see if he would choose the gold and not the hot coal. She placed each child's hands into each of the dishes to see if they could tell whether the water was hot or cold. She taught Stephen the signs for hot and cold, so he could also learn to tell the difference. When it was his turn, she put his hand in the water and he opened his mouth to speak. Nothing that was understandable came out. She writes, he squinted his eyes as he always did and sat down in my lap and looked at me, his eyes filling with tears. When the other children left to go outside, I remained inside with Stephen to continue working hot and cold. Later in the day, as he was leaving, he came over to get his lunchbox, which had been sitting in the sun most of the afternoon. He picked it up and then dropped it. He screamed, "Hot!" Then he laughed and said, "Cold." He looked at me with his big blue eyes wide open and grinned literally ear to ear. I grabbed him and gave him a big hug and kiss. Then, using sign language, I said, "Good boy." And he, in turn, signed, "I love you." I cried. It was so touching to know that after 3 weeks of working with a child, that was my diligence was rewarded. Our daughter Debbie always wanted to be a lawyer. She has always been a great debater. I could never, ever, ever win an argument with her. Life experiences can sometimes change the dreams you always wanted to pursue. Debbie had the opportunity to be part of a group of teenagers at the UAHC's Kutz Camp in Warwick, New York. One summer, the camp decided to bring in a group of deaf and hard of hearing teens to the camp to be paired with an equal number of hearing campers who had spent a week earlier learning sign language. Debbie was one of those teens. At about the same time, Debbie started teaching at our temple's religious school. She loved working with the children. As a result of her summer at Kutz Camp, interacting with children with disabilities, she decided to give up her dream of becoming a lawyer and to dedicate her life for working with the deaf, hard of hearing, autistic, children with rare syndrome, and other disabilities. There were times during her high school years when she was even asked by our local police department to interpret what a deaf inmate was trying to tell them. To this very day, she is still passionate about what she does for her life's work. During his college years, our son Andrew spent a summer in Washington, D.C. as part of the McCone Kaplan program run by the Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism. His assignment was to work at the Whitman Walker AIDS Clinic a few days a week. That clinic was the largest HIV/AIDS program in the country at the time. You might not think of AIDS and HIV as a disability, but for every definition in an Americans with Disabilities Act signed into law in 1990 by President George Bush, the ADA is a civil rights law that protects people with disabilities from discrimination, including those living with HIV and AIDS. In the Pirkei vote in chapter 4:3, the concept of our being required to fulfill our Jewish obligations despite any physical or mental weakness is reaffirmed. Then as I taught, do not sustain any person. Do not underrate the importance of anything, for there is no person who does not have his hour, and there is no thing without its place in the sun. Treat no one lightly and think nothing is useless, for everyone has a moment and everything has a place. And in chapter 4, verse 27, we are cautioned, do not look at the container, rather concentrate on what is in it. In the book of Proverbs 31:8, we are commanded, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Speak up, judge righteously, champion the poor and the needy. I would be remiss if I didn't include the imposed disability of sexual discrimination that we as women have over the centuries and in our own lifetime had to endure. Like so many of us sitting in the sanctuary tonight, I couldn't become a bat mitzvah because I was a girl. I didn't have the same right as the boys. In the early 1960s, I asked the dean of the Hebrew Union College if I could sit in on a pre-rabbinic Hebrew class. His response was, it would be too distracting for the men to have a girl in the classroom. And how sad is that here in Florida? We needed to sign a petition seeking to limit government interference in women's reproductive rights. It read in part, no law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion before viability or, when necessary, to protect the patient's health as determined by the patient's health care provider. Many, if not most of us in the sanctuary tonight, rely on Medicare for our needs. Unfortunately, even Medicare discriminates against women. While men are allowed to have annual and often multiple yearly screenings for their prostate issues, Medicare only covers women's breast and pelvic exams every other year. We have endured these disabilities of reproductive and healthcare discrimination far too long. Our task as Jews is to provide safe spaces for those with disabilities, and where we find a lack of safe spaces, we are urged to go out of our way to change what has been into that which ought to be. In other words, to provide every one of God's creations the possibility of overcoming their disabilities so that they may fulfill the mitzvot. Rabbi Tafon taught, "You are not required to complete the work, but neither are you at liberty to abstain from participating in it." We women have a job to do. Sitting back, waiting for others to fix this world is simply not an option. Shabbat Shalom.
Has the right to live the way she chooses. She has the right to love the person she loves and live in peace. She has the right to decide what will happen to her body. She has the right to dress her own way and not live in fear. She has the right to an education. She has the right to be paid on equal ground. She has the right to pray the way she wants and where she chooses. She has the right to be herself, safe and sound. She is you, she is me, she's your sister, your daughter. She's your mother, your friend, your wife. She is someone you don't know and might never, but she's out there, waiting for all of us to speak up in her name. Your sister, your daughter. She's your mother, your friend, your wife. She's oppressed, lost, poor, depressed, lonely, homeless, and she's out there waiting for all us to speak up in her name. She has the right to live up to her potential, and the right to be strong and say what's on her mind. She is determined to make changes, whatever they might be, in every town across the globe, in every school, on every street, changing laws and changing hearts and changing minds, 'cause she has the right. She has the right. She has the right.
Thank you. And again, Shabbat Shalom from myself and my co-president, Mike Borstein. We are so pleased to have been able to participate in this beautiful service that Sheila Kasdan has brought to us. Sheila, your Devar Torah was just outstanding, and I'm sure you heard that from the reaction. We thank our choir, who is really what makes many of us come and relax here on a Friday evening. It really is wonderful. We also have an addition tonight, and that's Giuseppe Pina Chiala. Pardon me? Anyhow, I want to thank all the women who have spent the time rehearsing and to come here tonight to present this to you. We are so lucky and so proud of our BIW women and all that they do for this synagogue. Kelly, our ritual chair, thank you for putting this together with Sheila and seeing that it ran so smoothly. It was a lot of work, especially since you haven't been here for the last month. I don't know how you got this done, but she did. Rabbi, thank you for sharing the pulpit with us tonight. That was a change. So we are thank you for doing the parts that we know you need to do. We have so much going on here, and I really feel that we don't need to be very repetitive. The most important things coming up now are our Scholar in Residence. That will be the weekend of February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Rabbi Richard Address, who's an expert on Jewish sacred aging. There will be a Shabbat dinner after services on Friday, the 2nd of February. And Saturday morning, Rabbi will address us again, and there'll be a Shabbat cafe luncheon open to all who come and to the community. We are taking this also as an open house for the community to introduce people that are unaffiliated to our synagogue. So if you have new neighbors that have come here, people that, and I see tonight some faces that I think are visitors, please join us for that. Sunday morning, the men's club will have a breakfast at 9:30 to continue and finish this project of aging. What's the other most important thing? Our biggest fundraiser. We are planning the most elegant gala on Sunday, February 25th, beginning at 5:30 at the beautiful Sarasota Yacht Club. It's a venue that we haven't been to for a long time. The food is going to be fabulous, thanks to my dear friend who has been, Jason, who's been testing the food with me. We made sure that it was all going to be perfect. So we hope that you will put together a table. There's going to be wonderful entertainment, music, dancing, and a special singer who impersonates Frank Sinatra. So the rest of it is on on the boards. We have plenty of flyers outside. We have many universities still coming up. And I think we have the rabbi's class coming up this week, Judaism class, by the way, on the 23rd at 11 a.m. I want to wish you all a safe, healthy, happy week. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for coming. And now I ask